All right, we're live on for Windy City Hawkey. What's up, Hawthorne Studios? Yeah, we need to talk about what's going on with the Hawks. Sorry, my phone had this stream on. I was posting the link, but yeah, what the Hawks are. The scandal about the Hawks is not good, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Probably hockey highlights. I would say more than likely they need to. But this scandal is bad. It is. It's not good to the NHL, and it's not good to the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm just saying that right there. I'm not going to get into it quite yet because the stream just started. I'm going to wait until everyone hops into the stream to let people get time to see. But how are everyone doing so far? Who's ready for the Stanley Cup final between Montreal and Tampa Bay? I'm doing all right, Hawthorne. I don't know. I honestly don't know. You'll see my Pat Foley jersey in my background for pretty much all season. I'm just saying that. But there's going to be a whole new setup coming soon because I'm going to be having a new place for my videos. Back in, I will say in August. So I still have time in this setup. Yeah, I'm going for the Habs in the Cup, but yeah, I can agree the Hawks need to do something on the front office. If he keeps up what he did last season, it wouldn't surprise me if the Cat gets 50. I predicted DeBrincat to get 50 seasons ago. The season that he had his worst statistics season. So, should I get into the topic, the main topic, what's happening with the Hawks? And then we talk about the rest of the playoffs and anything else after that. Because Stanley Cup Game 1 is in 1 hour. I know I went live an hour before Game 1 of a Stanley Cup final. That's ridiculous. Okay. So the Blackhawks. They're in a bad scandal. It is. It's a horrible scandal, and what happened to a player like that should never have happened. It's a cover-up. from what it sounds like, by the lawsuit that was filed in May of this year. But more on stories have been dropping in most recent weeks. And, well, it's just not looking good for the Chicago Blackhawks and the organization. As I am going to try and talk about this, the details are hard to follow, in my opinion, but I can do a brief summary of what's happening. So in May of this year, a former player of the Hawks from the 2010 roster filed a lawsuit against the Chicago Blackhawks for basically covering up a sexual assault again that happened to the player that's not named. And, well, the coach that was involved later on, after was gone from the Blackhawks, was also convicted for sexual assault. So, what happened here? The player reported it to Paul Vincent, an assistant coach at the time, a skills coach for the Blackhawks. I'm sorry about my dog barking right now, but I'm going to talk about this though. It's not good. Paul Vincent took it to management and had a meeting. Apparently, had a meeting with John McDonough, who's no longer with the Blackhawks, who was fired last year at about April of 2020, and with, at the time, general manager Stan Bowman, who's currently sitting as president of hockey ops and as general manager today, and Al McIsaac. And from what sounds like, they were trying to cover it up. I'm not going to try and get to full details because I'm not even 100% sure what happened. I don't want to come off like a liar because I don't know what happened exactly. I've read into all of this from the Athletic articles and even the TSN articles that have been getting posted in recent weeks about this. It's just does not look good for the Chicago Blackhawks, and it does not look good for the NHL. Today, the Hawks actually made their first kind of appearance about talking about it by saying they have hired a attorney to do basically internal investigations on the team from going back to the date of in 2010. How are you doing, Aaron? I don't know, Matthew, I don't know about that. I'm just saying what I'm thinking. It's is interesting thing that has happened with the Hawks and their front office. It does not look good on them. It does not look good on the NHL. I'm saying that. So, good to hear that, Aaron. So, with this case, it just does not look good. The Hawks have hired a attorney to do investigation on themselves, which they need to. The team most likely will. It just okay. It just does not look good, in my opinion, on the Chicago Blackhawks and how it's run, because they have had this is a major HR situation for themselves, human resources situation. It does not look good. It does not sound good. Nothing that happens with being sexually assaulted is not good. That's terrible, and honestly, it just doesn't look good. So, I'm just going to end it off there. I hope you understand about that. It is very confusing so far because it's so early into what's all happening. I'm going to try and do videos about this when more information does come out about this stuff, because when I was reading all the articles that have been getting posted in the recent days and weeks, it just doesn't look good and it doesn't sound good. It's honestly not good. Zach, I'm aware of innocent until proven guilty. I'm just saying it does not sound good for the Chicago Blackhawks. Brad Audrick, who's the who was allegedly did this, is an actual was convicted for doing this to uh, to a 17-year-old, I believe, back in 2013. So it doesn't surprise me something. It kind of does not look good. I'm sorry I sound kind of flustered on this topic. I was already flustered with it going into when I was reading all this and trying to explain what's going on here. It is a very tough subject to talk about. I'm just saying that. So I just wanted to talk about that for a short period of time of what's going on with the Hawks. I talked about it for about 10 minutes, and well, let's just end it there because it's a tough subject to talk about. And with the fact there is new stuff coming out about it every day, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Today, the commissioner of the league, Gary Bettman, and Executive Commissioner Dale Daly were interviewed before the Stanley Cup Final and was asked if the NHL will get involved in looking into this. Bettman apparently has just recently heard about this allegations, and it sounds like it's going to. We'll see. Honestly, I don't know what the NHL will do at this point, because it sounds like the league as a whole just recently learned about this. I don't know, Hawthorne. So let's get into a different topic here, because as you could tell, I had a difficulty talking about the scandal. So let's get into a whole new topic right now, because that was difficult. Okay. Who do I think replaces Pat Foley? Honestly, I don't know. It's going to be, as I talked in my video about the Blackhawks announcing that this upcoming season will be the final season with Pat Foley in the booth calling Blackhawk games, I was kind of like, oh, this is going to suck, because Pat Foley is one of the legends of broadcasting. He's up there with in Chicago sports also. Chicago sports has been known to having some great broadcasters, such as Harry Carey, Jack Brickhouse, and more. With Pat Foley put into it, he's up there as one of the best. It's going to be near impossible to replace a legendary broadcaster such as Pat Foley. I agree. Hockey highlights on a backup for Lakeinen, but this offseason there are a few goaltenders that are interesting who could be a potential suitor to have also in as a 1B or even a 1A spot for the Hawks. Chris Drieger from the Florida Panthers, who actually had a stellar season in net this year for the Panthers. I could see the Hawks maybe going after him for this situation because the season's supposed to be going back to 82 games next year. Get a goalie that has experience playing longer time would be smart. Maybe even go after a goalie to help train Kevin Lakeinen, like fellow countryman of Lakeinen, Pekka Rinne. That would be weird to see Rinne in a Hawks jersey, but it could be a potential. There's also a goaltender in Frederick Anderson who could be a good goalie to have as a number one goalie and have Lakeinen as a 1B. The Hawks could have options on who they want to go in for net for the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's end it there. Yeah, I heard about Pasternak. I feel bad for him. Hopefully, prayers go out to Pasternak and his family. That's sad to hear. Philip Grubauer or Tuukka Rask. The thing with Tuukka, I think he would remain with Boston. If he doesn't remain with Boston, he's probably retiring. I don't think that's the case on Pat Foley, Zach. I don't know. If that is, that's honestly a damn shame. But I don't know if that's the case as to why Pat Foley's leaving. He could be just retiring since his contract is up after this year. Do I believe Montreal can beat Tampa Bay? Honestly, I think they match up well. I think they could do a good shutdown game against Tampa Bay because Montreal, if you have noticed, they actually play a good defensive structure and also breakout plays from the defensive zone up to the offensive zone. They utilize the stretch pass perfectly. In Tampa Bay, they do sit back and try to play more defensive hockey. And then it sometimes can burn them. I could see Montreal coming out and winning this series. I'm not going to give you my prediction as who will win, but I could tell you who I'm going for in the Stanley Cup, and it is the Montreal Canadiens. This person. Carey Price, honestly, is probably the front runner for Conn Smythe Trophy out of any player left in the Stanley Cup playoffs, in my opinion. Jonathan Bernier would be a good option also. I wouldn't mind Bernier, but Rene could be a smart move just because he's a fellow Finn, and it could work out with Lakeinen. I agree on that statement there, Nimmer. It all depends on if Duck stays healthy. Hockey highlights. That's what that depends on. Yeah, I see where you're saying that. Hawthorne. Crawford was our best player in the playoffs last year. But Carey Price is a whole new monster this year in the playoffs. He's having that good of a playoff run. And win or lose the Stanley Cup, I think Carey Price comes out with the Conn Smythe Trophy. I don't think Delia will stay with the Blackhawks this year. Yeah, but at 11th overall, there's a different player I kind of want to see the Hawks hopefully get if he falls right to spot number 11. And that's just for Wallstedt. Doc just needs to work on trying to stay healthy. If Doc stays healthy, he could be one of the elite young centermen in the NHL, which honestly, I'm hoping happens. There has not been any news on Jonathan Toews. I wish there was, because that would be nice to see, but from what the last report was, Jonathan Toews is trying to return for next season, which I hope he will be back, because if we have Toews back in at the dot, that will be outstanding, because our faceoff percentage was among the worst in the NHL last year. I was surprised with Seattle hiring Hackstall. I was, honestly. That one came out of nowhere. I thought they would have probably hired Tocchet or even Tortorella. All it takes is a healthy team, but we're going to be in one of the toughest divisions in the NHL next year, because it sounds like the NHL is going to be back to the previous divisions, plus with Seattle coming in, that means Arizona will come into our division. Our division's going to be tough, but the thing is, there's a team that I feel like who honestly is on the about the spot where they are about to fall, where they aren't making the playoffs for any time, and that's the St. Louis Blues. So I'm not going to say I don't think they make the playoffs next year. It all depends on how healthy they are, if they have the right goaltending, and if they play smart hockey. Yeah, Tampa took that a whole new level, because how the Hawks did that in 2015, there was proof of an injury happening in 2015 when the Hawks ended up saying, okay, let's utilize our salary cap with Patrick Kane's breaking his clavicle on ice. You saw it happen, and, well, he was able to return because he healed up in time for the playoffs. The thing with the Kucherov thing, I don't know how this wasn't cap circumvention, even though I believe he had a surgery, but how it was dealt, it just seems kind of strange. Tampa versus Nashville in the Stadium Series, and I did see that. I did see Nashville and Tampa in stadium, and the All-Star game being in Vegas. I don't know why they keep putting Nashville in outdoor games in the last two outdoor games. Thoughts on how bad the Revs have been? Yeah. How about just, yeah. They've been pretty bad this year. I would agree on that statement. It's just been a terrible playoffs for officiating, and I don't know what they need to do to change it. All-Star game, usually it's going to be a neutral caller. Yeah, and yeah, I agree. Tampa complained about how the Hawks were over the cap going into the Cup final, but we were $5 million over the salary cap in the Cup final because we utilized the cap space we gained when putting Patrick Kane on LTIR for the remainder of the regular season after him getting a broken clavicle. And so they picked up Andrew Desjardins and Anton Vermette in the trade deadline. And they utilized that smart with a 1,000 IQ point move. But now then now Tampa Bay being $17 million over the salary cap, that's a little ridiculous. I don't like Nashville being in outdoor games just because I don't like Nashville. I'm not going to watch the outdoor game probably. I'm okay with Tampa Bay being in it. It should have been Carolina versus Tampa Bay because Carolina was supposed to be in a stadium series this year. But that didn't happen. I don't know. When will the Hawks be in another outdoor game? I'm just wanting to make sure that's what you're asking, or playoff series. Outdoor game or playoff series? Outdoors. I don't know. Hawks, I don't know when we'll be back outdoors. I personally, right now, with how the team has been in the last recent years and how bad they are outdoors, I don't care if they are in an outdoor game right now. They need to get their stuff together and fixing the team instead of worrying about getting in an outdoor game that they probably will lose in because we've only won 1 out of 6 outdoor games. That's pretty bad. Why would they put Pittsburgh in the Stadium Series versus Carolina? That would have been stupid. That should have been Tampa Bay, Carolina, in my opinion. And then the Stadium Series jerseys were leaked on eBay for sale for the Carolina Hurricanes about a month ago. The jersey looked good, in my opinion, and then they can't wear it now because the Nashville Predators somehow get to host an outdoor game. Now, At least this has helped me in getting off topic a little bit. I think we need a goalie. I think we need Jesper Wallstedt. I like Drew Commesso, but Jesper Wallstedt could be a franchise-changing goalie. You don't pass up on a franchise-changing goalie. Jesper Wallstedt should be in tops of trying to draft this season, this draft this year. He's that good. If he's out pick number 11, the Hawks need to take him. Nashville shouldn't be an outdoor game. Yeah, and as you saw, Lakeinen fell off in about the second half of the season. He completely fell off. I agree, Matthew. And Wallstedt is one of those type of goalies you do not want to take a chance and miss on. If you have a chance in drafting him, you take him. This year's draft is already a mess as is. Just go ahead. If he's there, take him. Oh, I would love to see Reichel win the Calder. I hope he does that well to be looked at for a Calder next year, but who knows? Yeah, I would not be surprised if Marc-Andre Fleury's traded this offseason. And teams could take advantage. Maybe Fleury gets moved over to Seattle in a trade between those two teams because Seattle is going to need salary cap to actually get to the cap floor. Maybe work out a deal with Seattle, and then there they go. And if the Hawks acquire, this is something that a lot of people think could happen this offseason. Free agency, they try and sign Dougie Hamilton. If they sign Dougie Hamilton, I will be ecstatic. I like Dougie Hamilton as a player. I always have since he was with Boston. And he wasn't that good with Boston. I think if the Hawks could get Dougie, that could be a good key boost on our blue line because you can have him paired with probably Wyatt Kalynuk because of the defensive type of play that Dougie Hamilton plays and how Kalynuk actually can pinch up and also play back. And that's why I think if the Hawks get Dougie Hamilton, that would be great to see. Yeah, I don't think either Subban or Delia is back with the Hawks next year. I have respect for the two, but I just have a feeling one, if not one, maybe both of them are gone. Oh, I know Vegas is exempt from the expansion draft, but they could still always do a trade with Seattle that could lead to Seattle picking players from teams and then trading them to uh, Vegas for Fleury. That still is a possibility. I would like to see Fleury in a Hawks uniform, but his salary cap is not good for the Hawks situation. I agree, Hawthorne. I still am a fan of Colin Delia, though. I could say that. Keith still is a good, useful player to teach the young guys that we do have coming up. Don't forget, we did have one of the youngest defense corps in the NHL. My expectations, Nikita Zadorov's probably gone because, from what it sounds like, he's wanting too much money. And that was a terrible trade, in my opinion, to even get Zadorov. But I would like to see Dougie Hamilton in a Hawks uniform. It would be a great pickup. But who knows? Bowman could be out of a job. I don't want to see the Hawks bring back Brandon Saad for a third time. I love Brandon Saad. He's one of my favorite players. But I just don't want to see another bringing him back and then eventually trading him. That's what the Hawks do with Brandon Saad. I agree, Nimmer. Zadorov doesn't deserve what he probably is asking for. I don't want to, at this point, trade Zadorov signing rights because I don't want Zadorov back. He's a big, bruising defenseman who gets walked on in his own zone. There's an issue right there. He's not playing the style he should be. So why try and keep Zadorov? I do agree, Zach. The Hawks need to re-sign Vinny Hinostroza. I like Vinny, and he worked out well for us. Both stints he was with us. No, we don't have any shot at Jack Eichel. Every trade rumor I see about Jack Eichel to Chicago, I don't believe them. I don't. His salary cap is terrible for the Hawks. I don't want him with the Hawks with the fact that he's making $10 million. That will make the Hawks have $31 million locked up in 3 players. In Taves, Kane, and Eichel. Yeah. So I don't want to see the Hawks try to even attempt something to go after a player making $10 million when you already have 2 players making 10.1. Well, basically 10.1 because each of them are making 10.5. So why go for Jack Eichel? And also, we're still a rebuilder. I agree, Zach. I would be fine if Seattle takes Nikita Zadorov. I would be okay if they take Calvin DeHaan. I'm going to do a video about the expansion draft coming up on who I think could be realistically taken by the Hawks. Well, by the Kraken from the Hawks in expansion. I have that video getting worked on. I also have my Forgotten Blackhawk episode 6 being worked on. That one's been in the chances of being close to finishing and probably uploaded this week. I like Steph Jones as a player, but I don't want him, if you understand that. What Steph Jones is making and the type of play he is doing, and from what it sounds like they would trade for if the Hawks did trade for Steph Jones, will be a well overpayment. I don't think that will be a smart move on the Hawks if they were to trade with Columbus again and get robbed by Columbus again in a trade. Because recent trades between the Hawks and Blue Jackets. Brandon Saad to the Blue Jackets for Artem Anisimov. That turned out to be okay for us. And then we make another trade. Artemi Panarin to the Blue Jackets for Brandon Saad and Anton Forsberg. That was a terrible trade. Don't trade with the Blue Jackets if all they want to do is rob you. That's all they do. If the Hawks trade with the Jackets, the Hawks are going to lose that trade. Flat out, simple statement. They have history of losing trades with the Blue Jackets. Kane and Taves have 2 years left on their contract. I should be GM of the Hawks. I don't want that pressure. Oh, I agree. Hardman's a good player. I like Hardman and McKenzie and Whistle. That duo right there is a good fourth line duo, in my opinion, right now. Because you can have the grinding play of Hardman with skill play of Whistle. I like that pairing. Yeah, don't trade with the... But then again, that GM's no longer with the Coyotes. They're Nimmer, who was robbing the Hawks. But granted, we did win a couple of those trades. How are you doing, Timo? I'm getting ready for the Stanley Cup Game 1 in about 20 minutes. So I'll be hopping off stream in about... Let's try and end this in when it hits 55 minutes on the stream. Okay? In my opinion, worst trade of all time was that trade, the Teravainen to the Hurricanes. Hawks have history of giving up on players too early, and the largest one of it was proof in the Teravainen trade. We did it to basically empty salary cap of the Brian Bickle contract, and we had to throw in Teuvo Teravainen. That trade has not worked out for us. Probably best trade in one of the best trades in Hurricanes history, one of the worst trades in Chicago Blackhawks history. Game 1 should be a fun one to watch. Okay, here's a question for you guys. Should I do live streams during games in the Cup final? I've been thinking about it. I'm not going to do it tonight, but I want to hear what your thoughts on that idea. Philip Deneau was a bad trade, but at the time we didn't know what we were getting with Philip Deneau because he started to turn into a good player probably this season, if not this season, pretty much last season. Do some streams during the during the Cup final. Okay. Let me see the next game I can potentially stream on. Because I think that will be fun to do a stream during the Cup final, guys. Why not? Granted, this is a Blackhawk channel, But I wouldn't mind doing a game for the Cup final. Did I work Wednesday? Let me see about Friday. I'm pulling up my schedule while looking at this. Game 2 will go live on Wednesday, guys. We'll have a live stream Wednesday for Game 2. And maybe a live stream for Game 3 of the Cup final. Why not? So, guys, if you want to get any last-minute statements out, let me know. Like, last-minute stuff out. Like, just talk. And then we can get this thing going for streams for the Stanley Cup final. Because I will go live on Wednesday for Game 2 and Friday for Game 3. I do think the Hawks will fire Bowman. Use the Hawks goal horn. Maybe. I don't know because it might be copywritten. I do hope Montreal wins the Stanley Cup. I will be cheering for them. I don't know. Talon or Bowman. I liked Talon. I liked him with the Hawks when he was with the Hawks, but Bowman also made some interesting moves, which I did not agree with, and also I don't really like anymore. I've wanted Bowman gone for a while now. You'd think the Hawks could bring back Nicoletti. Interesting idea. I like Nicoletti. I wouldn't mind seeing him back, but again, that's the thing. The Hawks are known for bringing back old players. I do think it's time for Bowman to go. And I agree, no more retreads. But one retread that worked out was the good one of Vinny Hinostroza this year. I would say Colleton's okay for right now just because he's a good development coach. We do have a young team. So I would say keep Colleton around until closer to when the rebuild's over. I don't know what's up with Byfuglien, but I would assume he's probably officially retired, but hasn't officially announced it. So, guys, I'm going to end the stream off here. I want to say, the Gaudette trade was a good one for us. I agree that was a good trade, and I think we did win that trade. I'm going to end this stream off here because I do want to watch Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. But Game 2, Stanley Cup Final, be sure to come over to the stream because I will go live during the Cup to watch the game with you guys and just enjoy some hockey with you guys. I haven't done a game stream in a while. So I want to say thank you to coming to the live stream tonight. It was fun. It was also, I had that fluster moment of talking about the scandal that's happening with the Hawks, which is it's just not good for for the team right now. So if there's anything new that comes out on this scandal, I will talk about it. I'm going to try and talk about it. I don't know if I'll do videos about them more so, but I will try and maybe do a live stream, maybe every week on this during this time with the Hawks, just because it is the off season. There's not much going on. So live streams I can actually get done more often. So thank you for coming to the stream tonight. I hope you enjoyed the Stanley Cup Final. It should be a fun one to watch. And just have a good day, everyone. And most of all, just have fun watching the games for the Stanley Cup.